So this year I've been really trying to push myself to allow people into my life
Yep.
because, and I know there are a lot of people that know me, they know that I've always been very like, you stay there.
Yeah.
And I'm trying really hard to get past that. So the friends that I am making now, I really appreciate those friendships because it feels so novel. It's like it's novelty to me.
Yeah.
And I really cherish that because I haven't really experienced genuine friendship like that since I was a kid.
Yeah. I've definitely been valuing a lot more reciprocal or being more on the same level. I think I've had a hard time in my own life. I think growing up the way that I grew up, a kind of the overachiever, someone who had to do well in order to get away. I've always been really big on like helping others and being of service to a point that sometimes is gross and doesn't really allow well for like good balanced friendships. Like the last few years, I've really learned what it means to like really ask for help and like what it means then that it's okay to need help and what needing help looks like, you know what I mean? And some of that is just having deep relationships and connections with family and friends, chosen family, mostly this year. But and really being able to ask for like, it's just weird because I think I was always afraid to ask for help because somehow it made me seem like I was less worthy of, which was totally contrary to like what I knew. So it's been really cool to kind of find myself because, a few years ago, I remember having a moment, I was the downest I've ever been. Like I was ready to like lock myself up in a mental hospital a couple of times. And I felt like I was screaming at the top of my lungs, like, help me, like fucking help me. And I felt like I was saying it to every person in my life, strangers, like online, and nobody was getting the message. And I really had to come to realize that I don't know how to ask for help. I don't know how to be seen. I've been working so hard at being seen as a person who didn't need help, as a strong person, as a person who you can rely on and go to, that I didn't teach the people around me, and I didn't let the people around me know how much they meant to me, how the role they played in my life, and how they could continue to show up for me. Because I think people were just always like, oh, she's strong, she gets over shit, she always pushes through. Yes, things are shitty, yes, things are hard, yes, but she always comes through. My mom used to always say that, and then all my friends and the people around me, and it became toxic. I think that was traits, and like it pushed me through a lot of my life, but I think it really caused me to plateau. And this last year I had to really find a way to knock myself down. And a lot of this is like it's my perception, it's my point of view. It's less even what the world is doing, but more of like how I'm showing up and how am I presenting myself and communicating to the world how to interact with me. And I was just failing. It just became different, what I needed from the people around me, what I could provide. Like I found myself turning away from certain relationships and potential toxic support. Like when people want to work with me around recovery or different things, there's times when I've had to be like, no, like I have to trust my intuition and be like, this is not the one for you to show up for, because you can't, because you're not well enough, or sometimes people have a certain struggles that they're going through that are still so difficult, or bring up stuff for my own that I'm unable to really show up in a way that I think is really helpful for them, and that is still also not harmful to me or harmful to them in the long run too.
It's hard because you teach people how to treat you.
They say that all the time, and
but it's because I am the same way. And I would get so frustrated that no one would call and check up on me or any of these things that I would do for my friends. So I was like, well, what is this? Why is this so one-sided? But then I have to look back and be like, I've never asked for help.
Even when people offer you help, you say, oh, no, I'm good.
No, I'm fine. And I think for me, a lot of that comes from toxic masculinity. Like growing up, I was really affected by toxic masculinity just because of the way that I was raised. And I feel like it's safer for me to keep people away, but then I need them. So it was this weird mix up that I struggled with for way too long because while I needed help, I also wanted to stay safe by keeping people away from me. And I think now I'm trying to embody the idea that it is an act of strength and courage to ask for help.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, it's the strongest thing we can do because it's the most vulnerable thing.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And yeah, that's why I think even in the Bible and other things, they talk about that idea, like the strength in our weakness, right? Which sounds like a paradox or